Greetings, welcome back to CS295. This is week 5, lesson 2. We're going on conditionals, and then also using the conditionals to show you how to do an if post, right? So we talked last week about post and gets, and we also talked about right now just how the post works. But we said, hey, you're going to want to make it so if they go to that web page and there's no post, you do something about it, right? So that is, we're going to show you how to do that, and then as we go through some of the rest of these lessons, we'll talk about how to actually integrate that better into your system. But for now, how this works, follow along on Trinket. You can see the if statements, and then the if post. The if statement works exactly like JavaScript, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. But the if post is going to be important because we will learn a couple more commands that we're going to look and talk about as we go through. So again, I have my if statement here. Let's go ahead and edit it, and let's set this code up real quick. Alright, so simple if statement, if 1 equals 1, right, that's true, it's going to run this code, right? So Control X, Control V, save. Now this page already has it, right? I'm already at this page, so refresh it. Right? We still see that. Now if 1 equals 2, that's false. We save it, refresh it, and you see it doesn't show up, right? So again, there's nothing different, right? Other than we start using variables in here, we need to make sure that we use the right variable, right? So, and this, again, somewhere gets you, if you just type in num here, it's not going to work. You got to put in that $sign. But otherwise, again, same concept. Else, we can add an else statement. The if statement pretty much works exactly like it does in JavaScript. This is probably one of the most similar ones we have out there. So let's save it, refresh, it says false, right, because num does not equal 2, so therefore it's false, right? And we can have all of our else if in there. Num is less than 2. So again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going over the if statement. Right, so save this, refresh, less than 2, I'll make it 2, it should say hello world. If I make it 3, it should go back to false, right, because it's not equal to, it's not less than 2, save that, and false, right? So not a lot of difference in what we're doing here. Now for the next one though, I'm going to jump over to the actual post, right? So we have our form, if you remember, let's take a look at that real quick as a quick reminder. We have our post action, and remember setting it up, and the action is where it's going to go. So we'll open this file in a second. It's a post. We have the username, email, right? And then this is the big piece as we're looking at this is set, right? Did they send us data, right? If they didn't send us data, then it's not going to work. All right, and then this one's checking to see if any data was sent, any post, right? So again, just kind of depending on what you're doing. Now you might want to do a few things, right? You can do the and kind of check a lot of different things. So a more secure one, right, is was there a server post period, right? Was it actually a post, not just as a variable? But again, the more you add, the more secure. But really, again, this is intro, so I'm just showing you how this works, a way to protect it. If you're just kind of learning, getting it to work, not saying this is best methods, but a quick, easy way is just to check. There should be a variable. You can check real quick if there's 2 variables or if it's posts, right? Was there even a post, right? This is saying was any data sent, but this was like was it even a post? Period. I don't know how this could be true and this not, but again, this allows it. So check if it's a post period. If it's not, boom, done. If it's not a post, don't even bother with the rest of it because that's an and. And then, well, also, I want to make sure it's a post, but let's check to see if this variable is there as well, right? However, if it's not a post, right, we think that wouldn't work. But the key is clearing the post. So let's go ahead. We have our post. We know it's going to run post, so close this. And then we'll go to the run post real quick. Now remember, depending on the PHP you're running, this can actually get an error, right? If you go to this page and that's not there, some PHP servers will just give you an error. Apparently this one is okay. I've run a lot where you just get an error saying, I'm sorry, that doesn't exist, I'm done, not going to work, over and over. So what you need to do is that if statement we're talking about, right? So if is set, all right, so we're using this is set, and then basically you're putting in whatever you're trying to check if it is set. So I'm just going to copy this post. I want to see if they put their email in there. Just do the right enter, and then let's cut this. Let's cut it correctly. Missed a little bit of it. I'll try that again, and then tab that over. So it's only going. Now we could also do an else and echo out. Now to make this error the most accurate, right? It's only checking to see if username, right? So it could have been a post with no username. Again, this is just saying there is no post with username. Did not set. Did not set username. Alright, so now let's kind of walk through the rest of it. So it's checking to see if username, and then it'll go ahead and put that into this. Otherwise, it said you did not set it. So let's save that. Let's go to the form. And remember, we're doing the post, so let's do test, and it's going to post. Remember, it's posting to that other form, the run post.php, and then there we go, right? Now, here is kind of the power of what we do, because this is a web page, right? This is a web page. I can copy this, and I could just go there, right? I could give someone this link. But this is where you want the protection, right? If they didn't actually post, they just go straight there, right? We want that break. So again, you can go to the PHP programming and shrink it, and you can see these different options that you have. Like just, did I have a post period, right? Is there any post data? Any post data? This is was there a post? Does the server think that you did a post? All right. Again. This last one is just showing you combine them, but this one just checks what is the username, login, whatever you're trying to post, you're trying to check to see if it's there. Now, there's a lot of things, and we'll get to session towards the end of this course, and that's another one where you're like, hey, look, if you don't have a session, you should not be on this web page. So that is a big concept for it, right? You should not be here, and that's where your else comes in, where you don't show them anything. Like you might have your whole entire web page built in here, or another common thing is to use the die command, which I can't forget if it was parentheses or not. Yeah, okay, so it has parentheses. So you could just tell it to die, right? If they don't have it, if you swap this around, you can do if it's not set, right? Remember, exclamation point's not, then we just kill the whole entire page. Now we can still give them their echo warning or whatever, but again, you just die, and then it doesn't run. Once it hits there, it doesn't run anything past that. So again, just depending on what you're doing, and when you're trying to learn how to do this, this is the basics. This is getting you through understanding and building. And as you go on a team, right? People will talk and have their own ways to do it. So that's all there really is. If statements, pretty much the same. The key is if you want to protect your post, you can use if statement, and you just kind of think about how you want to do that. How do you want to stop it so they can get to it? And I've seen, and I did this mostly so you can see kind of getting sent. But remember, I told you you can run the same page. So if I either put form.php or remember no action does this page, I could put that is set up here in the direct. Don't show them the form unless it's not a post, right? Because if it is a post, why would I give them the ability to post again? So that's another option that you can think of when you do the if post things, is sticking it above a post if you want to run everything on the same one. But again, we'll get into more examples as we move along. The next thing we're going into, though, is actually going to be database. So we're going to take a little break, so you have a little practice. You'll try this out. We've taught you all the basics. Really, the biggest things that's PHP is this: how to access and the post and the get. A lot of the other stuff we learned was just how to do it in PHP versus JavaScript, right? So just kind of think about that as we're going forward. Because we are going to take a little break, so don't forget any of PHP. But do remember what get and post work. That's going to be the big thing, because everything else you just got to figure out how to do it between PHP and JavaScript. But we're going to start going to databases. So we're going to learn just how to use databases for the next couple weeks. And then once that's done, we'll come back to PHP and kind of see, all right, how do we use PHP to connect to these? Because that's really when you start to be able to build your own websites. So when you're done with this course, you'll be able to make simple websites that can do a lot of stuff. Again, maybe not the best practices, but you'll know how to have all those pieces together. And then finally, again, that session, which is how, well, a lot of people use cookies. But again, for the smaller websites, we're just trying to build, trying to learn the concepts. Sessions work similar to cookies in the fact that they track who you are with the server. And we'll talk all about that when we kind of move through these next few courses. So with that, that's all I have for this lesson. We'll see you next week for databases.